Hey guys, welcome back to the 429 podcast. Too many requests. I'm 4.
I'm 2.
And I'm 9.
And welcome back to yet another Techcast Friday. This is our third episode in our new series here. So we're excited to get back into it. Hopefully you've been enjoying our previous Techcast Fridays and, our standard podcast on Sundays. So without further ado, let's get right into this week's big stories. So one of the first things I saw this week was Microsoft has their new phone, the Surface Duo, they revealed. Essentially, it's like the Samsung folding phones and some of your new other foldable phones. It's going to be priced at about $1,400. Designed to look just like their Surface Book lineup and their Surface Pro lineup. It's actually very thin, very sleek. Looks really, really nice. Now, believe it or not, this is actually going to be one of the first Microsoft phones to ever run Android, right? So now you're talking about a Microsoft phone running Android, Google's operating system. So they're working closely with them for that. So what are your thoughts on this?
Is it what's it called? Android with like a Microsoft skin, like kind of how Samsung does it.
I don't believe they got that far into it. I know they did say in the reveal that they are going to be working closely with Google to get it, I guess, working. I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that, but...
Well, Android should be working.
I would hope it's working. Otherwise, you're causing problems for about 80% of the world.
I mean, I don't mind them doing the whole Samsung route, honestly, because, I mean, it works for Samsung. Pretty much Samsung is just Android with a Samsung skin over it, and it works sometimes better than Google's own phones. Because they're, what's it called? They just really know how to just make it all come together. Google kind of like sometimes puts functionality over appeal, which is not a bad priority, but then it just comes out to like you have a decent phone, but no characteristic tied to it, no personality with it.
It's definitely interesting. This is Microsoft's second foray into a phone, after the whole Surface phone. You remember, like, that looked like Windows, and they tried to do Windows 8 like that. Yeah, the Windows phones and stuff like that. So it should be interesting to see, now you have a new leadership in charge at Microsoft who came out with this phone. So, I believe in Satya. I'm a big fan of Satya Nadella. So I will say that I'm actually excited. I can't wait to see what the phone's going to look like. Is there a price point or any information you have on that?
$1,400.
Never mind. I'm not that excited for the phone anymore.
I don't know if you've seen the phone too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just a phone, like
it's a foldable phone. Remember the Samsung folding the Galaxies and whatnot?
It's a foldable phone. So pretty much.
So you're talking like the new Motorola Razr that came out. That's also foldable.
You're talking about like Samsung Fold that they show, but not as big, and it's supposed to look like a think of it like a little journal.
Yeah.
Right.
I see.
So it has like pretty much the form factor of a small notebook.
Yep.
But it gives you the real estate of like 2 screens. Right, and you think about it, $1,400. Yeah, that's a lot for a phone, right? You're talking about like into like pro levels of iPhones range, like a plus size, but like that's pretty cheap for a foldable phone, at least now still. So it's interesting. It's not just a Microsoft phone; it's a new Microsoft foldable, right?
I think that we'll be able to see a lot of success come out of this. So, I mean, there's one really key thing about this phone that I think is going to differentiate it between the rest of your folding phone market. And I think that is that it's not one solid screen. So you solve a lot of the problems when it comes to like the corners and the bends, right? I know that the Samsung screens were, they weren't good. They were just, a lot of them were breaking quick. It was a nightmare. So by having that one sleek little hinge in the center and making it really streamlined, but still making it 2 separate displays, I mean, I think overall they'll probably benefit from that.
Honestly, the way I picture this phone, which would probably be Microsoft's best angle, is kind of like a tablet, like a mini tablet, right? You kind of like, it's portable like a phone, right? But if you're like trying to look at your emails or look at articles, typical tablet things, this is like perfect because it has like the wide real estate of a tablet, but the portability of a phone, right? Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, that would be like perfect for like scrolling emails or looking at articles or stuff like that, or even YouTube videos for that matter. Yeah. But right now, at least for me, unless you're really a big Microsoft ecosystem kind of guy, it's still a little too pricey for me.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I'm a big fan of Windows Phone. I kind of think it died prematurely. I had a lot of issues, but I'm kind of interested how Microsoft goes with this one.
Yep. Any other thoughts, too?
No, like I'm
Hey, let's
excited
go
to
to the
see
next
it.
one.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how the phone's gonna come out. I'm not gonna buy it because it's $1,500, but
Too many factors. We got to see
Yeah.
how Microsoft plays.
Yep. All right.
yeah.
Anyway,
Too early.
next, I don't know if you guys saw, but there have been a handful of possible leak dates regarding the iPhone 12.
Yes,
Ooh.
you're asking me that. Of course I know.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Hit me still.
some of the leaked dates. We're talking about the iPhone 12 event on October 12th. We're talking about the
Later,
devices
later than
becoming.
usual.
Of course, yep, that's a month later. But that was to be expected. I believe Apple already talked about delaying it. People just weren't sure how delayed it was going to be, right? So
Yeah.
you've got the iPhone devices being available for pre-order on the 12th, shipping the next week. And then in
Typical.
terms of like pre-order for the Pro devices, there's no exact date yet in that leak. But also we do know, or at least we think, that the Apple Watch and the iPads should be released by September 7th. So I don't believe there's going to be a large delay on those. Like I said, this is all, these are leaked dates, so, they're kind of subject to change.
Yeah.
But at least that kind of might give us an idea of where we can expect the new releases to be coming from. What do you guys think about that? You think that's too late? You think they're going to suffer from a postponed release? Or what do you think?
Nah, not at all.
Apple and suffering from a release. Let's be real, bro. You know you got the fanboys everywhere.
Apple's literally the king right now. Like they're on literally the top. They have controversies right now. We're not getting to them unless you have them in store for us later. But they're literally surfing over everyone who's struggling right now through the whole pandemic. So for them to do a month later, it's pretty much everyone's like, yeah, we get it. There's no rush, and it's not like people are gonna be like, all right, that's it. I'm not buying an iPhone anymore.
Yep.
They made me wait a month. That's too much. These people wait years for just the smallest, tiniest speck of information. They can wait a month.
So do you guys think? Do you think that we're going to see smaller amounts of people buying the Apple devices on release this year because of the pandemic and high unemployment, or do you think that Apple's going to see the same, run-of-the-mill, extremely high sales they see every year?
So I'm gonna call this now. So I've read a report actually that credit card debt for the first time in 15 years is actually down. Right.
Oh wow.
There hasn't been that much consumer spending.
Yeah.
But with that being said, right, I think you're gonna see a bunch of people actually go and buy this phone, not in person, but they're gonna order it to have it delivered. So it was the same concept that happened with the whole SE model that they released back in April in the beginning of the pandemic.
Yep.
People will want this phone, and I don't think anything is gonna change from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to have more buyers this year than previous years just because of this whole COVID pandemic situation and because people saved a lot of money from not going on vacation, from working from home.
No eating out.
Right? From not eating out, right? So I think you're going to have those people still buy phones. But with that being said, it'll be interesting to see because at least in the United States, there's been a drastic increase in unemployment, right?
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how it'll play out. But I think Apple is still going to report strong growth at the end of the day.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it's 100% certain, right? Partly because I think it comes down to, once again, the products, right? There's going to be a huge expectation this year because, the whole Apple Silicon chips and stuff like that.
Yep.
And the whole big change to Big Sur. There's a lot of momentum in place now, right? There's a lot of hype, right? So they got to deliver. It's at least the minimum hype requirement. Yeah. And if they don't, they're gonna fall flat hard.
Yeah.
But if they do, just like Tu said, they're gonna see some really good growth. I believe there's a lot of potential for a lot of big growth for Apple later this year.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. I think that a lot of people have been getting large. For example, you got your check from the government a couple months ago, $1,200. A lot of people that are on unemployment are getting more unemployment than they were making originally, right? So in certain cases, people, even if they're unemployed, are actually getting more income now than they have ever been, right? So I think a lot of that income might be used to buy the new iPhone when it comes out. And similarly, I know that they just rolled out another kind of like coronavirus aid bill, which is minimal but includes some like payroll tax cuts and different things, right? So people might have more money in their pocket right now. And, like you said, with decreased consumer spending and, decreased credit card debt, I mean, I bet you some people have money that's been burning a hole in their pocket. So I do think that there's a good chance that we can see better than ever release for these iPhones. But like Nine said, I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to what features are offered, and is it worth it right now?
And isn't this the first iPhone that's supporting 5G?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Rumors say that this is the first one to support 5G. But you gotta remember, every time it's the first anything, especially network-wise, for anyone who's listening, you guys are the testers. You're going to have huge problems. I guarantee it.
I'm not typically pro 5G, specifically because most 5G phones require a lot more hardware than the 4G counterparts. You need more antennas because you're now reaching a wider variety of frequencies, and not only because you're reaching a wider variety of frequencies, but as you get higher in that frequency spectrum, it actually becomes harder for those frequencies to get transmitted, right? So you need more.
That's why
in
they need more
areas.
towers.
Yep.
You need more towers per distance to cover, because, like you said, the frequency is it carries more data, but the trade-off is that it can't travel as far.
Right, like on certain frequencies, if you have your hand over the antenna, that might be enough to interfere with it. So by having more antennas, it increases the likelihood that you get better reception, regardless
100%.
of your cases, regardless of where you are. Right. Anyway, and then you also need extra processing power via usually some type of 5G chip. I know, like, there's maybe some Qualcomm
Like I
ones.
said, you're gonna be the tester for the first one,
and you'll probably see very low battery life on the iPhone comparatively to the ones beforehand.
I think the rumors state that the battery is actually going to be decreasing. The size of the battery is decreasing. So it's gonna be interesting how that's going to turn out.
It'll be interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see. Anyway, you said that people are probably going to be ordering stuff, right? Their iPhones. Where do you think they're going to be getting them from? Amazon. Where else?
Amazon. Oh, well, bringing us into that. This just in, Amazon's going to be adding podcasts to Amazon Music and Audible. So, now maybe you'll be able to listen to us more on your new Amazon services. I think this is long overdue, right? Podcasts are a huge market right now, and, Amazon's been missing out on it this whole time. So I
hope so. It's a huge market. Yeah. We're in the market.
Well, we are.
We will definitely be customers.
Oh, yeah.
I will hate for us to say podcasts are dying and it's a decreasing market. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast.
Yep.
But,
welcome back.
Yeah, it's long overdue. Honestly, Amazon Music is one of the ones I tend to oversee as a music listener.
Yeah, same.
I keep forgetting. Honestly, if it wasn't for Amazon's constant repetitive emails saying to me, "Hey, here's some benefits you're missing out. Here's some benefits you're missing out," I probably would forget that Amazon Music is a thing.
Well, you know what that means for us, right? Like, it's just going to attract more viewers to us, because you're going to get emails from Amazon now on our behalf saying, "Hey, go listen to podcasts, specifically the 429 podcast."
Yeah.
Maybe. Honestly, it's like Thor said, it's a long overdue thing, right? This just shows that Amazon is, they're still in the game. They're trying to show they're still in the game, and they're trying to just improve their services. There's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, I always thought they did have podcasts, and the fact that this news came out kind of shocked me that they didn't have it the whole time.
These are easy ways for Amazon to increase their market share, right? Like, they've already got AWS, they've got the infrastructure to host and create these things, they've already got software developers on staff, right? They already have all of these things done. So, I think it's relatively easy for them to do.
100%. It's pretty much like just another great feature to add on top of their already existing services.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, the people who do have or are frequent listeners of Amazon Music, they have some good experience with it. It's not like they haven't heard anything terrible. It's just there's Spotify and Apple Music that's just dominant players right now that we just need to inch into the marketplace, market them. So honestly, they don't market it as much as they should be.
Yep. All right. Anyway, why don't we talk about one of our big stories today?
Ooh.
We got a couple more small ones, but let's get into one of our big ones here. So just this week, Uber is now possibly being forced to classify all of its contractors and drivers as employees in California. So one of the judges in California went ahead and signed an injunction to possibly force Uber to follow the normal guidelines that every other business needs to follow, and make all of their drivers full time, which would then require them to offer benefits, and insurance and all these other things. So Uber actually says that they will likely have to shut down their entire service in California until sometime in November in order to account for this, right? And this is, you're assuming that maybe their service will be just as good, who knows, right? If they have to classify drivers as employees, who knows how many drivers they'll be willing to bring on at full-time salary, right, and whatnot, right? So I think these are, it's kind of an unprecedented thing to happen right now. Uber and Lyft are, definitely against it. So I'm curious, what do you guys think?
This is going to hurt them, just straight up. Man, there's no other way to explain this. This is just going to hurt them real hard.
I don't think, to be honest, in this situation, I think it hurts everyone involved. I think it hurts the drivers who are classified as contractors right now because now they're out of work till November.
Yeah.
It hurts the California economy because now you can't tax and make money off those rides anymore. So there goes that profit right there. Plus, we're in a pandemic, so that's even worse, right? Every dollar counts right now. And on top of that, that hurts Uber because now Uber has to go spend all this money, revamp all of its processes, and do that. So I think this is like a lose situation all around.
It's
right?
a lose for everyone.
Now, is it a temporary loss? We'll see, right? Maybe at the end of the day, it may be better for the drivers that they're classified as employees now instead of
from what I hear,
contractors. But
from what
I don't
hear,
know.
the drivers, or a lot of the drivers, especially Uber, have been pushing for them to be classified as employees, because they don't get none of the benefits and stuff like that. And that means that Uber can cut them off really easily, right? But I mean, I'm not gonna say if it's better or worse because I really don't know too much about the situation, right?
Yeah.
But I know it's something that the drivers have been vocally for,
Yep.
And I think it's just like Tu said, it's kind of like a weird time. It's a losing situation now, but for how long? This is something the drivers want for a while, and maybe they're kind of a little steamed that Uber is taking such backlash by cutting services. But I think Uber is just scared that this is going to spread. This is going to be kind of like a echoing effect to all states. And as much as a lot of these drivers want to be treated as employees of Uber and get benefits and stuff like that. Uber can't sustain that.
No, and it's bigger than just Uber, right? Because you got to think about this. If I remember correctly, Uber has over 100,000 drivers alone just on Uber in California, right? Now also taking into account Lyft, and now you're not talking about just Uber and Lyft. You've got Grubhub, you've got Postmates, pretty much every food delivery service that works through an app. You've got new apps like Drizzly or Drizzy or whatever it is now. Out of they do like alcohol and whatnot. So. I mean, you have there's a lot of different apps now that follow the same structure that Uber and Lyft follow, and all of those people that drive for them and get income from them will now be out of work while there are 35% of people in the country unemployed. So I think this is a huge mistake, at least for them right now. If this was something they wanted to investigate, by all means, maybe bring it up after the pandemic is over and you're not now risking the livelihood of 100,000 people in California, right? So.
Tough call right now. It's a very tough call. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out.
Anyway, another happening of the week, Instagram and their parent company Facebook are on the line for a lawsuit that can max out at $500 billion in fines.
Whoa! What happened?
So they essentially have been collecting data on photos, right? And they've been using face scanning and facial recognition. This is classified as biometric data. So every time a user uploaded a photo to their platform, they've been scanning those photos and tracking facial recognition features. But users who accept the agreement on the platform already agree to this stuff. But not every photo that gets uploaded on the platform includes only people that have agreed to that agreement, right? So now you've got some people who haven't agreed to their terms of service, and even their faces are now being tracked, and their facial recognition and biometric data is being stored by them. So they're on the line for a little bit of this, and I mean, this is going to be, I think this will be a precedent, right? Because data collection is a really big thing right now, and if they get this, and this kind of lawsuit hurts them a lot, I mean, this could really be a precedent in data collection as a whole, right? So what do you guys think?
All I can say is I'm ready for my $25 3 years from now. But no, I mean, this is a privacy issue, right? I mean, if you're one to agree that you're allowing Instagram to do this, which I'm almost guaranteed, like 70% of people who did agree didn't even read that they agree to this, or even higher. But again, you agreed, right? But this comes down to the people who, like you said, don't even have Instagram accounts or don't even remotely associate with Instagram, but they got buddies and friends that are or family that are associated with it. They're scanning their faces. This is it gets to the whole like dystopia kind of level where like you're not even participating in it and you're getting none of the benefits, but you're still getting all the costs.
Yep.
Right. This is your data. I don't know if people still don't know this, but data at this point is worth more than any material out there in the world right now.
Yep.
So, this is tough. Like, this is a big lawsuit. I'm expected to hear that I'm affected again. Expected to sign in my social security number to claim it, which is again another privacy thing. Just to claim my $10 to $25 and a pat on their slap being like, "Don't do that again."
Yep.
Okay. But we'll see. What do you think, too?
It's gonna definitely be an interesting precedent to see how it plays out, right? Because I know we all know Facebook has these user agreements in place that prevent things like this from actually happening.
Yeah.
I don't know who. I mean, it's your own fault if you don't read those and see what Facebook will do with your data. I would say, right? That's not to accuse anyone. That's just no one really reads the terms and user agreements of anything anymore, right?
Yep.
Unless you're one of our old professors. But it's definitely going to be an interesting precedent. And 500 billion is no small fine, right? That's a big fine.
Yep.
You said billion, right, with the B?
Oh, yeah, I said billion. I believe they're liable for a $5,000 fine for each instance of the violation.
I mean...
the one violation affects 3,000 billion people.
Do keep in mind, right, this is up to, right? Lawsuits never, ever end at their up to amounts. But, I mean, it just goes to show you how big this could be.
Also, I remember that most of the amount go to the lawyers who actually sue them for their contribution.
So you only get $25.
And you got $25. And whenever claim, don't forget to put your social security number, your email, give me all that credential.
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic that in order for you to get your money from a data collection lawsuit, you gotta give them more data to get your lawsuit?
Yeah. Pretty much, it is kind of ironic. You're right. And 90% of the time, they come in the form of sketchy emails from class action lawsuit firms that look like spam and phishing.
And also, if you guys ever check the website that the lawyers use, right? It's HTTP. It's not HTTPS.
Damn, that means I can make one in like 5 minutes. I should start working for lawyers.
But
they got deep pockets.
Anyway, what else you got for us today?
So we got two more small stories. They're kind of similar, but we'll start with the first one. So I know we talked a lot about this in our recent Techcast last week and the week before, as well as one of our recent...
Herman Miller?
Not Herman Miller, but yes, we have talked about that a lot, and I love that chair. It would be so nice. I would like to get one, but kind of expensive. Anyway, TikTok is actually filing a lawsuit against the Trump administration and U.S. government on the executive order that they placed against them.
Well, they kind of have to,
right? Now this is expected. This is totally expected, but you have to think: do they have any grounds on this lawsuit? TikTok is claiming that the claims of them stealing data and being kind of like utilizing espionage against the U.S. citizens and constituents for the Chinese government. They're claiming they have no actual kind of basis or no items to back up those claims, and that this is just totally blatantly wrong. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think it's going to get anywhere, or do you think it's just going to be dead in the water?
It's going to be a tough lawsuit, man. I don't see this being the easiest lawsuit for them to beat, right? This is definitely going to go. It's very hard to beat the U.S. government. We all know that, right? So yeah. It's like paying the IRS. You just have to do it, right? There's no way of getting around it, ifs, ands, or buts, right?
Yep. So
it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Do I think that they'll be victorious? I don't know, because the what was the idea that he said? I think he claimed it as Homeland Security or something.
Yeah.
At that point, you kind of have very broad discretion to do a lot of things, whether they're legal or not legal. I don't know.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens.
I'm just gonna say that. I mean, I'm not saying TikTok doesn't have a case or do have a case, because I'm not that well versed in their exact clarification of what the case is, what they're claiming is, what's it called, unfalsified towards the government. But all I can say is that if we have so many people, so many researchers, so many analysts basically saying something's up here, that kind of puts suspicion, even if you are, I would say, free of guilt.
Yeah.
So do they have a basis to win? Probably. Maybe, maybe a lot of people put in a lot of doubt on them. But the fact is, we still have to have this conversation because the fact is, it just seemed way too suspicious. The connections were there.
Yep.
People have deep mined the app and have said there's a lot of malicious things going on, claiming it to be 100 times worse than Facebook. And that's saying something. You're saying you're worse than Facebook in data privacy?
As Facebook gets a $500 billion lawsuit.
I mean, I'm just saying, like if you get that, it's time to look within yourself and be like, am I the evil bad guy here?
Right. Well, there's the key, though, right? Facebook can get that $500 billion lawsuit because all of their data is subject to U.S. law. When you have foreign apps that are using U.S. users, that data no longer has those same restrictions, right? If you've got data stored in China or data stored in other countries, the U.S. government has no oversight, right? So you don't really know what's going on. So it is quite a big deal. I do, however, think that, and I've talked to you two about this before, but national security is such a broad term, right? So if a president is really able to ban apps and businesses with just a reason of a national security threat without really needing concrete justification, I mean, TikTok is obviously going to be dead in the water. And I do think it's a little ironic that this is going to be a lawsuit where they literally are going to have to prove themselves innocent, right? And it's kind of just, it seems backwards in the United States justice system, right? Typically you have, the prosecutor going after somebody and they have to prove that they're guilty. But in this case, TikTok is going to have to come into this lawsuit and prove that they're innocent and that everything that the government has claimed is false, right? So it's kind of, it's a really odd situation for a lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, if I remember, one of the biggest rules in the legal system is that it's harder to prove someone's guilty though than to prove that they're innocent.
Yeah.
So maybe they did have a case. Maybe they could pull this through. But this is just outside of my field expertise. Yep. They could have a case, but like as Stu mentioned, this is a fight against the USA government. At that point, you're fighting a very uphill battle.
Yeah.
So and also if we're speaking about this too, we have to also address the WeChat that they're also grouped in that.
Yep.
That whole what's it called, plague of blocked apps, and because of this, are a lot of Chinese what's it called? They're getting a lot of Chinese backlash too. I just saw this article this morning saying that 95% of Chinese iPhone users saying that they block or WeChat from the App Store or something like that, they're not buying iPhones.
Yeah.
So that's gonna hurt Apple hard. They're really pushing into the Chinese market. They finally had some success after a lot of failures, but they're finally making some progress. And just for it to all go down, Apple's going to be looking at this case really closely because they know it's going to affect them in the end too.
No, I agree. Anyway, into a slightly different but still kind of the same topic. It's been reported that Twitter is actually looking at possibly acquiring TikTok in the U.S.
Who's not buying TikTok? Now, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow says I'm looking to buy TikTok.
I mean, it's a huge platform, right? It's really up and coming. A lot of users, so I mean, it's no surprise that there's a lot of major companies that want to kind of pick it up, right? Notably, Twitter and Microsoft. Now,
Twitter was another one though? I think there was another one.
I'm not sure of another one. There definitely could have been, but not that I'm aware of, at least. But anyway, Microsoft has a market capitalization of $1.6 trillion. Twitter has a market capitalization of $29 billion. Right, so you're talking about two completely different classed tech giants, and I mean Twitter. I just don't know if this is going to be something they're going to be able to pull out in the next 45 days before TikTok is banned, as of last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever the
isn't it not 20 days now?
Yeah, it's way down now. So
you gotta remember that this is posted right by the time we know this has already been in the works for who knows how long.
Correct,
right?
That's true. Could be.
So maybe they're working on it, but. The fact is that Microsoft already had its news come out that they're looking at it. That means they're bidding against Microsoft, which, again, like you said, it's a different class of animal when you're talking about tech companies. But you do have to remember the large group of Microsoft actually kind of does work in favor because, there's been a lot of talks about, monopolies and tech companies. And maybe the Congress might look at Microsoft being like, maybe you don't deserve TikTok. Maybe you have too much.
Yep.
And they might, not even let them continue on.
Yep.
So this might be a favor towards Twitter. I don't know. What do you think, too?
It's going to be interesting to see. And what's Twitter going to do with TikTok? Are they going to kill it like they did with Vine?
That's my concern, right? Dang.
Oh, man. Don't talk about Vine like that, man. I'm still sad.
So that's what I'm interested about. And, they can kill it like they did with Vine. But to be honest, the way I see really TikTok going, I don't see TikTok going up. I see TikTok going actually down from here. So I've been on Instagram lately after we talked about last week on Techcast how we talked about like Reels coming out and everything, right?
Yeah.
Reels has become really big, really quick. But by the time we talked about Reels last week to this week, right? I've already seen so many Reels on Instagram. People are posting Reels on their stories and everything.
Really?
Although, and all the major TikTok stars are actually posting the same TikTok or Reel or whatever you want to call it on the TikTok app and on Instagram, and they're getting just as much traffic.
So they're getting familiar with it.
So it's been really, really big, actually.
Yep.
Interesting.
So I don't really see TikTok being... If TikTok wants to, cash out, of the guys who made TikTok want to cash out, sell that as quickly as you can because Instagram is quickly taking up market share.
I do like the Instagram Reels, but I just personally, if you compare the two apps, Instagram Reels to TikTok, one, I find that Instagram Reels are not anywhere near as like user friendly, right? And like it's like a subsection of the app. You got to go into like this other section to click on it, and like I just don't like the user experience as much. And besides that, I also, I see a lot of people posting their exact TikTok videos on Instagram, right? Every time I'm scrolling through it, like a good percentage of the videos I'm seeing on the Reels are literally just saved videos off TikTok that I've already seen before and I know got posted there, right? So people are just using Reels as like kind of, I think, a secondary, right? I'm not saying that people won't use it as like their main TikTok, quote unquote, whatever it is, right? But I see there's a lot of overlap, and I think I think people are just using that as like a second place to post to a different audience.
So you're basically saying right now is like they're not fully diving their feet, but they're just like kind of a backup.
Yeah, that's how I see it personally.
It's funny you guys say those Reels really popular because I have never seen one, like not even one yet. Yeah. I kind of forgot they were a thing. But then again, my time on Instagram is a big old 0.
3 minutes a week.
3 minutes a week. If I launch it by mistake and I'm like, oh no.
Anyway, we got one more story left. This is a pretty big one.
Okay.
Are we ready for it? Brrr, drum roll, please. Come on.
Oh,
go for it.
Apple has removed Fortnite from the App Store, effective as of today. And this just in, literally from maybe about 40 minutes ago, not even, Google has also removed Fortnite from the Google Play Store. Now, I know this is going to be a big surprise. What would they possibly remove that giant game for with over, with a billion users or something on mobile?
Too much Fortnite dance. Right?
One might think, but Fortnite actually, personally, I think they were literally mocking them. I think that Fortnite was going at them, okay? This was planned. This wasn't, like, on accident. Epic Games knew what they were doing when they did this, but they built in their own direct payment system inside of their application to avoid all of the App Store fees that Google and Apple charge and surcharge for all microtransactions and game transactions. So, I think they knew exactly what they were doing. They literally said to their users, like, hey, you can use the App Store to pay, or we can give you a 30% discount and you can pay directly inside the app, right? So, they were well aware of what they were doing, and, I've seen a couple of different ads they've put out now. One was, like, mocking a commercial that Apple put out from 1984.
Oh, you seen that?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
I wonder who showed it to me.
I don't know, but
yeah, but anyway, this is kind of huge news, and I'm curious what you guys think.
You go first, cause
they want money, like plain and simple, right? It's their app stores, their proprietary. You gotta follow their rules. It sucks, but if you want to download it on mobile, there are ways around it. Just provide a link that they could go download it from, right? And just accept the certificates or whatever, right? And I think we're going to see a lot of that in the coming years, that, to get apps like TikTok or Fortnite and stuff like that for app developers to have more control and to circumvent things like the app stores, You're gonna see a lot of
third-party app stores.
Yeah, you're gonna see third-party apps. You're gonna have a lot of apps just say, "Hey, click this link to download our app," and it's gonna take you to their website. The app downloads to your phone, and all you need to do to run the app is actually accept a certificate. I think this is gonna be a lot easier on Google phones than it's going to be on Apple phones, especially with the new iOS coming out, because Apple's like hammering it away in security, right? Which I'm pretty happy about because it makes our data more secure. Cough, Facebook. But it should be interesting. It should be interesting to see how this really plays out. You know, you have one of the biggest games currently known to man, right? Because with the amount of users that are playing worldwide, and just having it banned from the App Store, right? It should be interesting to see. Now, what I'm interested to see is that who's gonna cave first? Is Apple gonna cave first and leave Fortnite to just let them do their transactions themselves? Or is Fortnite going to cave because they're realizing they're losing the mobile community and they need the mobile users back? So it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be the big tech companies caving first or if it's going to be the video game developer Fortnite competing first. But how about you, Nine? How do you feel about it?
Honestly, I don't know.
You play Fortnite, so you can actually tell. I don't play video games.
Yeah, I play Fortnite. I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of Fortnite. I played it. I enjoy it, right? It's a lot of people give it flack. This is a kid's game. Yeah, it's a kid's game. You're right, but I mean, it's number one for a reason. I just can't get over the whole battle royale after a while, so I have to like stop playing it. But I think either way, the way you view this, I mean, you're either two sides of it. Either you're the Fortnite side who's like, yeah, rebel against Apple, tell them who's boss, mock them with your default dance, you know, or you're the other side who's like, well, they're breaking the rules, so they can't. They can't do that. And so I'm kind of on both sides. Like, I kind of see both sides pretty well. Like, I definitely see Fortnite's rebellious, and I see why they want to do it. I mean, like, it makes sense that they want to, as a company, they're trying to just increase their profit margins, right?
Yep.
And in the day, like you said, it's all about money, right? And at the same time, a lot of developers have speaking, you know, what's it called, negatively towards Apple's monetization system and their cuts, right? But Epic Games is one of the few who has the momentum, the big user base to actually make a movement and make a power move towards Apple. They're one of the few that can actually do it towards Apple and cause stir, like you're seeing it right now. So this is pretty much like Epic being like putting where their money, where their mouth is, and actually trying to do something. You know, I kind of respect that in a way. You know, they're making stirs. They're not just saying, "Boo, this is bad, it's unfair." They're actually doing something about it.
Yep.
Was it the right move? That's hard to say because, like, again, you're playing Apple's ballpark. You got to follow the rules, Apple's rules, right? So it's weird to say. As you said, Google just recently done it too, so it's not even like a case against now just Apple. Now it looks like Google also agrees with Apple and being like, yeah, you can't do that. Gonna have to shut that down, boy. But honestly, it's weird. I'm honestly more excited by the constant backlash between the two.
Yep.
The company battle than more of the actual result, because the result is either going to be Apple win, things go on normal, and everyone complains like still, or Epic, or we're going to be looking at this like a couple of months now, seeing the landscape change completely and be like, wow, Fortnite default dance the way to victory.
Yeah.
So that's hard to say. I'm going to be watching this one really closely.
Yeah, I agree. I'm pretty much in the same boat as you guys. I do think that it's a big milestone, and I tend to think that Fortnite will cave first just because, Apple's got so many other apps that generate traffic for them. And, like, was Fortnite generating a lot of revenue for them? Yeah, I'm sure it was, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, Fortnite is Epic Games' main product, right? That is their main, investment right now. And, Fortnite is not really going to be make or break for Apple. So, I mean, I don't think Apple or Google have any reason to go back on what they did. And I mean, I think that they could just have the resources and power to let them either sit there and dig their own grave, or I personally don't necessarily see them backing down on this, because if they back down on this, it'll set a big precedent for all other apps on the App Store. And I mean, I do think that this lawsuit is going to be the deciding factor at some point.
It's a precedent. It's a precedent.
Yep.
It's definitely just not within the gaming right? Any developer who's an app developer, Google or Apple, you got to be watching this closely, guys, because this is a precedent that will affect you at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. It might really affect you in a good way or bad way. It depends how you see this thing. All I got to say is pretty much this.
Oh my God.
Did you get a copyright strike for that?
All right.
No.
And on that note, we are out of time, unfortunately. We hope you enjoyed listening. We had some really cool topics today. We'll be back and we will talk to you again on Sunday during our regularly scheduled podcast uploads.
It's gonna be a Herman Miller episode, right?
A Herman Miller episode, exactly.
No, not yet.
Yeah, that's right. A Herman Miller episode. I know it's been granted by the fans. They want it to.
They do.
They want the Herman Miller Grand Special.
God.
Yep.
It's coming.
All right. Anyway, this has been the 429 podcast, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.